Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Neil, 10th Man, Flatsoid, Brian, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So, first and foremost, welcome, one and all, and Chocolate.
Hey.
Marhaban.
Good morning.
Shalom.
Top chocolate.
Right, so the first thing...
Go
on.
No, I was going to say, who was that foreigner from South Africa speaking?
That's Flatsoid. He got a plug on the show yesterday.
Do you like my Arabic?
Yeah,
you do. So, before we get into the housekeeping, as I've been doing all this week, and I may do again in the not too distant future, we'll see, is plug other YouTubers who I like watching. And we've been discussing this in the pre-show because yesterday's plug didn't necessarily have the meat that I hoped it would have. It was very short, but hopefully that won't be the case today. So I'm going to do them in reverse order in terms of the one that will get the most talked about versus the one that maybe get the least talked about for reasons that we'll go into now. So the first recommendation, as a bit of a language warning, is going to be burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth. Now, you can probably tell from his title that there's a bit of a strong language warning that going on with this particular YouTuber, but he's definitely active. He's covering in this video Eric DeBay's coverage of Scientism. So this is his take on that particular back and forth that had been going on. So check out Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth. I don't know where I've got this queued. Do I dare risk playing a bit of Burn Fat when I immediately get demonetized? It's worth it for my fellow flat earther. Let's do it.
Enough to melt the perpetual snow and ice.
Oh, it's debate.
Thomas Winch plants. Vast extent.
Oh, it's all debate.
And the sea and jet.
Taken at exactly 7:30 a.m. from the exact same location. Is it some
it's just
serious
covering
flat Earth?
Dan. It's just a kind of cover of Dan's video. Not the best pick by me, although probably the best pick at all, because it doesn't have any of burn fat swearing. So that's probably no bad thing for my particular channel. But nevertheless, the first link in the live stream chat, which is members only for the chat, but you can still view it if you are watching. Indeed, the same goes for the replay, is to burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth. Go over to his channel, subscribe today, and let him know I sent you. So put a little comment that says, Nathan Oakley sent me. So before we move on, any kind words or encouragement for people to go over, subscribe, and leave a comment that we sent them there about burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth. Go.
I have to shout out beep, 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 and to say beep. I'm just joking. He's actually an awesome guy. He's worth a watch. And yeah, just know you have to put some parental guidance ears. Don't let your children really hear what's going on. But he's definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, in the right place.
I'm subscribed to him, and we chat back and forth, and I love his channel name, and he does good work. Really good work.
Indeed. So one last plug. That's Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth. Is the first link in the live stream members only currently chat, but you can still click on it if you aren't a member. Become a member today, though. Nathan Oakley 1980, of course. So yeah, so check out Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth. Let him know I sent you. Next is Demarble OG Flat Earth. So this particular video is about his contemplating and reflecting on people's views and comments of his laser test that he did about a year ago, and he's just mulling it over and discussing it with the audience as he does his thing in the very cool way that Daryl does his thing. So he's a very cool character. You can't really cover how cool Daryl is without over stressing it. He's about as cool as they come. But nevertheless, he has exceptionally good content. He talks about flat Earth, obviously, and he's doing things. He's actually out doing things practically. And in this instance, although he's not actually doing the thing in this video, he's actually discussing his thoughts and feelings, other people's discussions about the topic of his tests and how they got on, etc., etc. So that's Daryl Marble, or D Marble, I should say, is the channel name. So go and check him out. It's D Marble. He is the second link down in the live stream members only chat stream, so check him out today. Any kind words to say about cool as a cucumber, Daryl?
Oh yeah, I got one. He's very spirited and he's level-headed.
Boom,
D
boom.
Marble is ace. D Marble's ace, down to earth, very good content, flat earther all the way. Check him out. Worth a watch.
You won't go wrong watching him. His data is actually very accurate. He does very good research before he actually posts something. So it's definitely worth a watch.
He's a sharp guy, well researched, as I say, very practical. If you do go and subscribe to D Marble, which is the name of his YouTube channel if you're listening rather than watching, let him know I sent you. So just say, Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me here, subscribed, excellent work, keep up the good work, whatever positive comment you want to leave him, but just let him know that I sent you. Him, if that makes sense. Sent you his way, that's the one. So that's D Marble, check him out. Last but by no means least, far from, this is probably my favourite YouTuber. So this is Dilly Gill, and I before I launch into my over-enthusiastic praise of Dilly Gill, I'm going to ask you guys, because I've already got my goosebumps and I'm starting to lose my ability to speak because I'm so keen to get into it, but you guys go first. Say anything positive about Dilly Gill, then I'll plug him.
Dilly Gill is ace. All his work debunking NASA is ace.
Dilly is Gill. No, he's actually very good. He's got a lot of brilliant content. You'll be entertained for hours. That's one thing for sure. Because as soon as I know, if I start watching some of them, I have to watch till the end. I won't be able to stop halfway.
Okay, hopefully that's enough from the panel. Of all the YouTubers that I spend time watching, I spend more time watching Dilly Gill's videos than anybody else on reflection. Normally I'll watch them and then immediately watch them straight after, all the way through. And they're lengthy videos, so I'll spend considerable amount of time in front of his videos. And every time one comes out, I'll be the first there giving it a thumbs up and saying, it's not going to be a bad video, let's face it, so might as well get an automatic thumbs up. I don't typically give people automatic thumbs up on videos. In fact, I don't give anybody automatic thumbs up other than Dilly Gill, because I know it's going to be brilliant before I've even got there. As soon as it's released, it makes me very excited, as you can probably tell if you're listening to this. So, although I joked in the pre-show that, like, if you're not subscribed to Dilly Gill, then how dare you be subscribed here, but I wouldn't want to discourage people from being here, obviously. But by the same token, I do definitely want to almost insist that everybody watching right now or watching this after the fact goes immediately, not a little bit later, go now and subscribe to Dilly Gill if you haven't done already. Again, please let him know that I sent you. Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, or words to that effect. If you do end up getting suckered into one of his videos for a solid hour, which is very, very likely, then let him know that it's quality content. Give him a bit of encouragement. But I can't praise him higher than anybody else. I mean, he's my top YouTuber. Dilly Gill is fantastic. So if you're not subscribed to him, please go immediately. Click the subscribe button. He is the third link down in the members only live stream chat. Doesn't matter if you're a member or not. You can click on that link. You can go and subscribe and leave him a comment and say, Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. You will thank me later. I promise. So I'll just round out with Dilly Gill. So that's him. There is a link in the live stream chat. And I'll summarise the other two that I also plugged on this particular little bit. Shout out to Tony Schuler for joining as a penguin. Thank you very much indeed. So first and foremost, burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth. As Flatsoid says, a little bit of parental guidance might be needed, but he definitely is worth watching. I spend a long time sat in front of him, chuckling away, sometimes at the foul language, but nevertheless it's content that matters and he's got good content. Next, we've got D Marble. So again, second link down in the live stream chat. So go and click on that link. Go and subscribe to him if you're not already, and let him know we sent you. Last but by no means least, Dilly Gill. Subscribe today. I insist. Anyone want anything before I move on to housekeeping questions?
Well done. Well done to shout out and promote
new
the
member.
community.
Cool. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature?
Not from a non-rotating surface.
Well, they throw away their sphere edge, their horizon, their curve, and their refraction. So, what do you have in the end? Nothing.
No.
Any evidence of axial rotation? Hey, Adam. Hey.
Have we ever
No
had,
evidence.
Have we ever had evidence for it?
Afternoon, guys.
Well, according
Adam.
to hey Adam,
Adam.
according to Dr. Becky, there is, but we never feel it or see it.
Then how
Dr.
is that
Becky.
evidence?
Hold on.
I don't
Dr.
know.
Becky,
Same
hold
Dr.
on. Sorry, did you say Dr. Becky said there is rotation, but we never see any evidence of it? What about the 15 degrees an hour turn of the Earth that he claim happens as we rotate underneath things not attached? That's a 15 degrees an hour
Well,
drift. She says that we don't see any evidence. What about the drift that they claim we see?
Well, that was my
We don't
thought.
feel
So,
any evidence.
yeah, but when I commented, what about the sniper bullet and Neil deGrasse Tyson's football? Boy, the chat room lit up that I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I put her straight
Going-
this morning.
Sorry, guys.
I put her
10th.
straight this morning.
Sorry, hold on one second, Brian. So let me get this straight, 10th. You went into Dr. Becky, who's claiming there's no apparent evidence that proves we spin. You wouldn't tell. And yet you're citing their own side's high priesthood and their claim that Earth turns underneath snipers' bullets, and you're being told that you don't understand what you're talking about when you cite their hostile witnesses that completely discredit what she's saying.
Exactly. And I even said Dr. Becky versus Neil deGrasse Tyson. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, this is worth pondering. This is definitely worth pondering. So Dr. Becky needs to be told more that she is in direct contradiction of the claim that we like to pummel. And that's that you have 15 degrees an hour turn of the Earth underneath stuff not attached to cause apparent deflection. That's drift, things drifting away. Not because they fly away, but because you turn underneath them and therefore they appear to fly away 1,000 miles an hour on the equator. Ergo, you'd throw a ball in the air and it would drift away 1,000 miles an hour as you turned underneath it. Exampled by Neil deGrasse Tyson's football. Gets kicked from the ground into the inertial reference frame, and the Earth is claimed to turn underneath so that the goal is made by the Earth turning underneath, moving the goalposts. Of course, that would mean that if you were watching the game from the blimp, you'd have Earth turning underneath the blimp, and that doesn't happen. And we like it to be very clear that you're claiming we do see drift, if you're a glober claiming we've got proof we spin, so that we can point out that we don't. What's this Dr. Becky clown telling people there's nothing apparent when you're supposed to have 15 degrees an hour drift? Is she backing Simon Dan's idiocy?
I just posted a screenshot of Master B. You can see it.
Let's have a look. This definitely needs pondering on. It seems we've now got two hostile witnesses who are standing in contradiction of one another. Becky says you can't see anything you wouldn't know. And Neil deGrasse Tyson not only saw it from the stands, he tweeted about it, having seen it with his own eyes, according to him, to prove it. So, Becky, you've got a big problem here, and we're going to make sure you know about it. Go ahead, it's on screen, 10th.
So we've watched the video actually arguing the point of Earth turn. Well, we don't feel it. You can't tell it's there, but it's there. So basically, just trust me, kind of a statement. So I wrote, so no Earth-based Coriolis effect then, because we're not moving. However, Neil deGrasse Tyson says the field goal was assisted by Earth turning, or sniper bullets, or pendulums. Thanks, Dr. Becky. Dr. Becky versus Neil deGrasse Tyson. Please make up your minds. And then the blah, blah, blah. Asinine flat earther alert, get a life 10th moron. There's a lot more under that, though. And then Brian
So that's
and
their
Flatsoid.
answer, an ad hom?
Yeah,
That's
all they
okay
did.
by me. No problem. The fact that they haven't been saved by their commenters isn't surprising. Yeah, the Becky, your commenters aren't going to save you. We are going to be pointing this out and juxtaposing your claim that there's nothing to see here with Tyson's claim he saw something here and tweeted about it. That's a big problem. Either we have Earth turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour, as claimed by Tyson and Foucault, or we don't, Becky. Which, I don't mind which sword you die by. If you tell us that, well, no, there's nothing to see, well, there's nothing proving we spin. Or you say, no, we do absolutely have 15 degrees an hour as the Earth turns underneath stuff not attached. Then that would shorten flight times. So, Becky, it's time to pick a poison to die by. And we're going to be the ones to force feed it to you. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
1 second, Nathan, before you go on. I just want to...
Go ahead, Brian. I noticed one of them was your comment.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was actually being a bit rude. Sorry, Tent. I stepped in on Tent, what Tent was saying to you. I actually put her straight on something that she was wrong about with her own model. It's from the same direction as what Tent is doing, but it's more directly connected to the model. She stated in the very start, within 1 minute 28 of the video, that the Earth is spinning at a constant rate and moving around the Sun at a constant rate. That is not right, according to Kepler's analemma. The globe Earth is constantly changing its rate as it goes around the Sun in an offset elliptical orbit. So she didn't even know that. She just gave an average. She just said that it moves at 670,000 miles an hour or some nonsense like that around the Sun. But the truth is, it's constantly changing its speed in accordance with that model.
Yes,
I just posted your remark on Master B2, by the way.
I did. I had it up on screen.
Oh.
I had it up on screen. I'd also like to point out that YouTube, one of my commenters and probably lots of people's commenters, was quick to point out that what you've just described would give us speed changes. And like on a waltzer, that's what you feel. You guys, I heard while I was in the kitchen making a cup of coffee in the pre-show, talking about trains and such like and how you can feel the motion. Well, it's the inertial change that you feel. And what Brian's just described would give us that. And you'd notice.
Yeah, that's what I brought up as well, inertial.
Well, that's why they have to say we move in at a constant speed, because we don't feel any of that.
Chocolate, if you going in a car driving 60 miles an hour straight and you do a sharp right turn, what's going to happen?
Speed change, you're going to notice.
Exactly.
Spray. Right, as it's Becky related, this might get trimmed out in the same section. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No.
No, Becky still hasn't supplied Tent with one over a year now, so I don't think there's going to be one.
So on this subject, I got a email from a guy called Kyle Brown, who was pleading with me to get a different show for him to attend to debate, after telling me that he's going to reify models and base his presuppositions on observations he wants to discuss with me. I was like, yeah, you can suck my nuts. If you want to come on, you can come on at 3 a.m, Snowflake, because he lives in, I don't know, somewhere that's at 3 a.m. Anyway, back and forth emails with me explaining to him that he doesn't know what science is and he's got pseudoscience. I just read his last email. Okay, Nathan, it's clear that you're not interested in learning, only twisting others' words to fit your personal definition of science. So, we'll cover these things afterwards. For example, the main assumption that this mathematical model uses is that light travels in a straight line, which is only approximately true due to refraction. Interesting. This does not assume the shape of the Earth. You've just put those words into my mouth because it fits your beliefs and narrative. The mathematical model is just a tool. The science then comes from plugging the actual observations into the model and comparing its predictions with reality. I'll leave it there. Anybody want to address any of that?
Where do we start?
What comes first, observation or maths?
Wow.
Did Adam hear that? Clearly not. We'll end that little segue by saying models are pseudoscience. Science is based on observation of phenomena, formulation of hypothesis, that would be a scientific prediction, followed by systematic experimentation to prove or disprove your alternative hypothesis. That is science. Models and your comparisons, they're not causal proof. They're merely your comparing of your pseudoscience model to something you observe. And you absolutely will be assuming an R value in your model. I absolutely guarantee it.
Yeah, science is qualitative, not quantitative.
Yeah, what causes what, not how much of what in my model.
The most interesting part, the part that got me straight away with that, was the very first thing he opened with was projection. He said, "It seems, Nathan, that you're not interested in learning." So straight away, he was telling you that you're not interested in learning. Yes, you're putting him straight on what he's incorrect about.
Yeah, it's also divining my thoughts like Mystic Meg with a crystal ball. Oh, you know what I'm interested in, do you, Mr. Psychic? Yeah, correlation is not causation. And what he wants to do is correlate observations with a begging the question proof of nothing model of a globe Earth, and also, although I didn't read that section of the email, hold it up in false dichotomy against a flat Earth pizza pan that he's going to compare it to with the sun's assumed distance on a flat pizza. That's what he's going to do. He's got a false dichotomy and several reification fallacies, all rolled into one. When I point out he doesn't have the slightest idea what science is, models aren't it, he tells me that I don't know what science is. Okay. Yeah, like I said, this guy's apparently it's a bit late in the morning for him, 3 a.m. to come on the show, which is now for him. It's like, I don't care. Do you think I'm suddenly falling over myself to get some PhD student arse-licker to come on? No, you've got no weight or clout here, you complete clown, and you don't know what science is. Speaking of science, any scientific evidence of gravity?
None whatsoever.
Sorry, but how do you have scientific evidence of a concept that's based on a concept that actually debunks reality?
You can think of it as being a force. What about any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
12 kilometers.
No.
Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius?
Black
Negative.
Swan. Black Swan.
How did they get the radius in the first instance?
They
Did you have to measure
reified the horizon to a physical geometric sphere edge. I've got Mr. Sensible in my comments at the moment asking me about Mage. No idea what that is. But from what I glean, it's utilising the horizon to claim Earth curvature. And Mr. Sensible himself has gone over an argument where he actually conceded that based on the lack of geometric horizon, quote, at best you would have debunked the radius. But yet this man's coming and telling me that the reification he is now falling victim to again is somehow proof that we have a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon, formerly known as Earth curve. Nah, you're well aware of the Black Swan now, aren't you, Mr. Sensible? Why would you be asking me to look at Mage? So I can reify the horizon into a sphere edge? I tell you what, think of a bouncy ball or a basketball with a flint just behind an edge. Is that what you think the horizon is, Mr. Sensible? Because we debunked it with the Black Swan. Do you have a short memory? At best, you would have debunked the radius. Ding, ding, ding. Hello.
Yeah, that was classic.
Well, his radius is elastic.
He's a complete idiot. With a short memory.
Yeah, Mage is Mr. Sensible's balloon project. Apparently he's done it twice. And everybody's all gushing it like he's some kind of flat earther doing something new, and everybody's claiming, of course, that has the evidence for curvature, blah, whatever. And then it basically comes down to, why aren't you looking at this? Why aren't you looking at this? That's basically the strategy.
Is that why he's in my comments?
To look at it.
Yeah, that's what he's saying to me. Why aren't you looking at my stuff? Why aren't you reacting to me? It's like, yeah, clearly you want my attention.
He put a balloon up.
Bless him. And we can debunk it in a couple of sentences. In fact, we can debunk it in 2 words. Black swan.
He thinks lens distortion and compressing that lens distortion is curve. You know, the oldest book in the globe is Arsenal.
So he thought
he's
he caught curvature from a balloon.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, that's what
let me check.
he
Let me
thinks.
check my calendar. Is this 2020 or 2015?
I think it's 2015 in his mind. He's forgotten all about the black swan. He's got his flux capacitor, gone back in time to when everyone on all sides used to reify the horizon into a physical geometric sphere edge and then argue about whether or not it's bent. Yeah, we don't do that anymore, shockingly. Not since 1st Jan 2020 Black Swan. Let's think of a quote that might be pertinent. At best, you would have debunked the radius. Yet that was based on its lack of geometric physicality, Mr. Sensible, you complete idiot. Such a short memory. Hey.
Yeah, but Nathan, they all seem to be going back to 2015 for some reason.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
They're so much faster to pummel now.
Mr. Sensible is like Hoggle in the labyrinth. He's just helping everybody back to the beginning of the maze.
He's just recycling the arguments. That's all.
Arguments that we destroyed.
Yeah, it's
He's
like I
trying
say,
to send everybody back to the beginning of the maze.
that's just what they want to do mentally. They've somehow forgotten, or intentionally forgotten, their rebuttals, which we now use as their hostile witness quotes. They want to erase them and just go back to 2015 and go, look at the horizon. It's an edge. Like this basketball with a flint behind it. It's just like that. What's that, you say? We would have debunked the radius based on the physical geometric horizon not be capable of being seen? We wouldn't expect to see it, yet Major seeing it, is it? Unbelievable idiot. That's so stupid. Ugh. Well, if you spent some money on it, Mr. Sensible, I hope it cost you a pretty penny, because I didn't even need to look at it to debunk it by saying Black Swan and quoting your own words to you. How ironic.
And he proved entropy on that balloon as well.
Did it burst and the gas filled the space?
Yes, it immediately dispersed into the immeasurable space.
No, that's wrong. No. Thunderfoot says gas go down, go boom boom, like bouncy balls poured in a fish tank. Surely it didn't expand in all directions to fill the availability of volume in line with the second law of thermodynamics. This stuff goes down, go boom boom with gravity. Like solid, bonded bouncy balls poured by fundy idiots called Thunderfoot into a fish tank. That's what happened, isn't it? Right? Second law doesn't apply to the Earth, right? Or is it that these clowns have a model that violates the second law of thermodynamics when they assert that the sky is a vacuum, and therefore they need to assert that gas behaves like solid
That's
bonded
it.
bouncy balls?
That's why they have special natural laws for their atmosphere.
Atmo, that's air. Sphere, that's a fundamentalist religious presupposition that everything's sphere-shaped, including gas, which fills the space it has to fill.
I know, but that's what their natural laws apply to. It's up
Their
to you
natural
to figure
law?
that out.
Their natural law, eh? Any evidence that you can have
The
gas
natural
pressure
law
without the
for a
necessary
model.
antecedent of a container to press upon?
It's the natural law of their model.
What do you mean by that?
Well, that it is natural law within their conception, in their model. It only really applies to the model, see? Where air can be assumed to be spherical shaped and the Earth is assumed to be a sphere. Then
It's a conceptual natural law. That's
I was
nice.
just gonna
Yes.
say, so they have a concept, and in that concept, they have natural law working.
No, Neil. No, Neil. You what you're asking is why the contradiction in terms? Why natural? That's nature. And conceptual, that's not nature. Why are these two things in the same sentence? No, you don't have conceptual natural laws based in models of heliocentric sphere Earths flying around in vacuums in violation of actual natural laws. They apply to nature. The model's just a model.
That's why my favorite quote is from Sir Arthur Ennington. If your theory is found to be against the second law of thermodynamics, I can give you no hope. There is nothing for it but the collapse in the deepest humiliation.
The heliocentric model stands in direct violation of the second law of thermodynamics.
That's what the Globers are doing right now. They're collapsing into the deepest humiliation.
And I can give them no hope.
To the beginning.
I kind of agree with Arwin a bit. They not. They do have natural law. It exists. It's the same natural law as ours. It is integrated into their model, except the obvious contradictions are either not addressed or addressed with the magic gravity word. No explanation, no real substance behind why it allows that contradiction to just address with, yeah, but gravity, like with the gas pressure and without a container. So it exists there, but as a contradiction that they will try to avoid and dodge, a bit like the...
You'll be held to task, Adam. You're going to get... Oh, hold on, Adam will get it in the comments unless I correct this. No, that's not strictly true. So they do have some supporting evidence when they assert this gravity is a useful magic trick, or however you phrased it. So this guy called Thunderfoot asserted that gas go down, go boom boom, like bouncy balls poured into a fish tank. So if unbonded gas behaves like solid bonded bouncy balls, then that's evidence, isn't it? Thunderfoot says so. I mean, these people are idiotic, but...
well, I suppose if you can prove gas go down, go boom boom, that would be useful, but...
I can. I pour, what I do, hold on, I can.
That's the
so
thing.
I just pour solids into a fish tank and just say that that's how gas behaves. It's really easy. And people who watch, if they're really thick, they won't see the stupidity nonsense that's being asserted. And they'll go, oh, right, gas behaves like bonded solid bouncy balls, does it, Thunderfoot? Wow, you're so smart. You say you got a PhD? Well, then you've got to be right. It's no way on earth that a flat earther could just quote natural law to you and make you look like a complete clown. Oh, my bad. That's exactly what happened.
He did say imagine, right?
Imagine. Yeah, because it's conceptual, and that's their demonstration of their imaginary medium with an imaginary force being thought of as a force. And the way you think of it as a force in that instance is to make unbonded gas bonded bouncy balls. I mean, these people think they're physicists. They're actually mental. Shout out to Tip of the Day for joining as a penguin. That concludes the housekeeping, by the way.
What's really good about their current description of gravity, which is the theory of general relativity by Albert Einstein, is that his description of gravity works a whole lot better on the Flat Earth Society flying pizza model than on their globe. It actually fits it perfect, like a glove.
That's no coincidence.
Shout out to Brian Cox.
Well, there's no coincidence there. They need two things in the controlled opposition Flat Earth Society narrative. One of them is gravity, and you've just covered that, so I don't need to recover it. The other, well, there's three things, actually. The other is space. So where's the pizza pie flying up through in the controlled op Flat Earth Society narrative? Well, it's flying up through space, isn't it? So space... Right, what, second law of thermodynamics violation in a flat earth narrative? That doesn't sound right. Oh yeah, that's because it's not ours. It's just the controlled opposition putting out their nonsense. The third thing they need, back to Mr. Sensible, they need an edge, don't they? So that whenever an edge comes up, a bit like a basketball with a flint behind it, that kind of ball edge that they're asserting the horizon is, well, they need that ridiculed so that no one ever pays attention to the fact that they're actually claiming boats go over a sphere edge. So they have a pizza pie edge with water falling over it. And what do you know? A boat falling over it. So while they simultaneously claim with Earth curve maths, that would be a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, that boats are going over a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon formerly known as Earth curve, they also assert it in the controlled op narrative with water falling off the edge of a pizza. Shout out to James Richards. A global lie is beyond self-contradiction. I hope I've read that right. I should really bring up the chat on my other screen so I can actually read it.
No, you got it right.
No, I did get it right, yeah. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, James Richard.
I don't... Nathan, you mentioned something that the controlled op, the Flat Earth Society. Something I've always had a problem with that model that they try to equate is they've got their pizza disc going up at 9.8 meters per second, but not accelerating at 9.8 meters per second, because That
No,
would
it
be a
is.
rate of acceleration that the Earth is constantly, therefore accelerating. I've never understood.
I thought it was.
That's a big glaring hole in there.
Hold on. I don't know if you're right on that. Can someone double check this? I thought it was 9.8
No,
meters per
I'm
second.
pretty sure that it is eternally accelerating.
I was going to say,
that
I think so. I think it's
theory of relativity makes it all right. Kind of.
I think it's 9.8 meters per second, Adam. But I could be incorrect, and you might be correct. If you are, I'd like to be corrected because I always say 9.8 meters per second squared.
The G value is, I thought the Flat Earth Society just had it going up at a speed of 9.8 meters per second, not an acceleration.
Oh, right.
Per second.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
But that wouldn't do anything.
Well,
if anyone in chat knows, I'd happily be corrected. But I always thought that was another issue because otherwise you've got this accelerating Earth at 9.8. Now it might be starting at 0 this second, but in another second it's going to be going 18 meters and then 27 meters. Yeah. Now the rate of acceleration is still the same, but the overall speed of the Earth has to therefore increase over time at that rate of 9.8 meters per second. That's the rate of increase, which
Correct.
would mean, yeah. So I've always
Because
thought,
otherwise it would reach momentum,
Yeah.
and then there would be no apparent gravity anymore.
how long to get to the speed of light if you're going at 9.8, an acceleration rate of 9.8? So you were going at 9, then you're going at 18, then 27. How long before you reach the speed of light? It
Not
doesn't
long.
seem,
But it's controlled on narrative as opposed to the actual. It's got to be punted as being conceivably correct. In many instances in the Flat Earth Society narrative, things are in there specifically to be debunked.
Well, the thing about that
it is from the old days when I look back and you first exploring it and you don't know that they're a shill society at that point 5 years ago. It doesn't take you long, and that's one of those things that I'm like.
Until you come across Thomas Dolby and him and his membership for Flat Earth Society, and then you see him doing a little disco for the guys at NASA. You know, you got Buzz dancing around to what's this song about science? Blinding You with Science. So you can see Buzz Aldrin dancing along with a member of the Flat Earth Society doing the music. And you go, is this not blatantly telling? Nathan, you are welcome. You gave me $10 to say you're welcome. Well, thank you very much indeed, James Richard. It's very much appreciated at the moment. Not going to lie.
No, but Adam, I think you're mistaken because I'm pretty sure that they did have the acceleration, a constantly accelerating system that they would justify by saying it's all relative because it's basically constructed on top of Einstein's conceptions. That's what that system, they just turned it into a disk going in one direction instead of it being a ball and then all being so complicated that people can't even explain it anymore. That's the difference.
Adam's being called by one of my chat members. I love it. Rob H says, "Speed of light, you say, Adam?" Question mark.
Yeah, fair point.
Why is that a fair point? Just fair point's not going to cut it.
Okay. Well, what is that? The speed of light? Could somebody verify that for me? But
it sounds very Einsteinian, doesn't it?
Yeah. The point I'm making is that eventually it's going to get to an obscene figure if that's a constant acceleration, and I will not use that C value. I take it back.
Okie dokie.
The Albert Einstein, the story goes that he actually looked at the Flat Earth Society model when he was creating his, or around the time when his theory of general relativity had come out or was about to come out. But the thing about it is that 9.8 meters per second squared was added to that after. I'm not saying that you're saying it, but he didn't add that to that. There's no evidence that he added that to that. You know, I couldn't find any evidence. I looked at where that actually originated. That actual model, I can only say I believe it originated with Einstein himself. That's actually from him, and the 9.8 meters per second squared is something that was added afterwards. Just kind of harking back to CV Boys, and Cavendish.
I have a question.
I don't know if Einstein did it himself, though. I
was
don't know,
gonna say,
but it definitely feels like it was inspired on it.
Well, you're just speculating. I didn't call Brian on that. I could have, but I'm not going to. But yeah, you're right, Arwen. You said you had a question, Neil.
Yes. Is this theory of relativity, has it been proven?
No.
Not a theory.
No.
Not a theory.
Yeah,
it's not
it's not
based
a-
on science.
What's the
mind
problem
experiment.
here? So I have a disconnect.
You might as
So
well-
do they.
Why are we on
That's
about
the
this?
point. That's exactly what it's designed for that disconnect. It's a concept.
Might as well ask if Nostradamus theories have been validated. It's not a scientific theory. It's not empirical. It's a mystic Meg theory.
They had to create the concept after finding out that Earth is not spinning.
So wait, what you're telling me is bullshit.
It's just not it's not
yeah.
validated scientifically. And they're using the word colloquially when it's a scientific terminology to confuse their audience. So you hear the theory of and go, all right, validated empirically then. Because theories in scientific vernacular are based on validated experimentation that's been based on a hypothesis that's based on a phenomena that you wanted to know the cause of. And once you've got your validation, i.e. you guessed the cause correctly, varied it to see if it caused it, and it was repeated again and again and again, then you can form a scientific theory. Well, this isn't that. This is a colloquial mystic Meg Nostradamus theory. There's no science in it. What's to validate? Cue the violin music. Woo!
Yeah, all they did.
In Brooklyn, we call that bullshit.
Yeah, all he had to do was try and make a story up because of the Michelson and Morley attempt. That's all. So he had to try and make something up for the Globe, and that's where it came from.
All I do now is that in the last 100 years or 80 years something, people, I don't know, say, yeah, there's this great theory of this person, that person, and we might be able to prove it someday. Now, the fact that they are literally saying it like that is already preposterous. It's just, that's what people now think. The words have been discontorted from their original purpose and meaning, and it's become this nonsense soup now.
Spot on. It's the wrong way round.
Yeah.
We've got a theory, we might prove it. No, that's the wrong way round in scientific terms. No, you've got a phenomena you want to study. You assume the cause, varied it, proved it caused it, and then formed a theory. Not, we've got a theory, we might go forth and validate it. It's based on validated systematic experimentation. That's what your scientific theory is, but they've used the colloquial terminology to paste it onto some nonsense they've made up. There's nothing to validate, literally. Another shout out to James Richard. Wow, big spender today. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the support. So, speed of light. To detect the speed, wouldn't the device being used have to be faster than the speed of light? Question mark. Again, part of a mystic Meg. But thank you very much for the super chat, James Richard.
No, but not true though, because the speed can be deduced. It doesn't mean that an object actually has to go that far.
You reckon it's got a speed? You reckon it's got a journey?
Well, light does journey.
I can
and you
debunk the whole lot now.
Does it?
From its arrival time, what the supposed speed is. With objects moving that speed, however, how are you going to achieve that speed? That's the problem.
What is light?
Yeah, you've asked the ultimate question. Hold on.
Hold on.
Flatsoid's asked the most pertinent question. Repeat it again.
What is light?
We have no idea. We've got so limited an understanding of what light is, it's unreal. If you look into how much we know, you find out how little we know.
The issue with
energy, and it has no mass.
Where were all the scientists when Einstein was coming out with this theory of relativity? Where were all the scientists? Because now from that, then you get this string theory, and all I have is a bunch of theories, but nothing validated.
Neil, in the beginning, they were against it. They were laughing at him about it. They thought it was preposterous. But anyway, according to EMC squared, energy and mass are interchangeable. Even that alone debunks nature.
What's mass?
We're on to another subject now. Right, let's stick with light. Thank you, Chocolate. Yeah, it's very related.
Yeah.
You're right.
Just on that, Nathan, you said what? Well, first of all, what's speed? Speed is distance time relationship. Now, okay with the time, but what's the distance that the light travel? How do you quantify it if it's quantum?
Right, what's its
Is there a
journey?
path?
Right, what's its path? Sorry, we're all keen. Go on, Adam. I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to say, is there a path that you could therefore measure to say this is the path route of, let's call it a photon? Yeah, is there a path route that we can measure? We can assume the distance between A and B and 10, but actually, is that the route? I think quantum mechanics would suggest it's not. There's not necessarily a route.
Are you here? 10th, there's a biblical passage my uncle mentioned to me when I interviewed him like 5 years ago, and it's something to the effect of who can track the path of light. Can you remember where that's from? Say again?
No, give me a clue. I'll look it up.
I'll have to go back to my interview with my uncle because I'm not a biblical scholar. He is.
No, just from memory. Give me a clue of the conversation.
Well, it's talking about me. I was talking about the circuit of the sun, and it was prior to me tracking the sun on a Flat Earth Live. So I was discussing it with him and saying, I want to track the path of light. He was like, well, that's a specific question asked in one of the books that's a bit more scientific in the Bible, where it's specifically asked who, mortals, can track the path of light. Now, it might be...
Okay, I'll go find it. I got it. Okay, give me a minute.
But yeah, sorry, carry on, Adam.
Psalm, and it's in Psalm, Proverb, and it's in Job.
Job, it was in Job. Adam, you were saying, sorry.
No, I'm just going on to it. No, I think that was my only point, that if you're going to assign a speed, you have to have distance and time. The first critique was on the time. How could we get the time? How do we measure it? That's hard enough. But how do you actually get the distance?
Yeah, the other problem is that the inherent measuring tool is derived from a celestial body giving off light. So that in itself means that you've scuppered your own measuring tool, and part of the concepts that you're going to be using are Einsteinian in this example, which obviously we've covered, but the most important one Adam's gone through, which is what's the journey? It's not like it's got a little road that it moves along, and you can't detect that. Now, you can detect parts of the journey. For example, you can put a slit detector and see where it goes through, i.e. which slit it's gone through. But can you see the path up until that point? Quantum mechanics suggests it doesn't even have one.
Well, quantum racer used to use the joke of what's the speed of dark. I heard that before somewhere else as well. You know, what's the speed of dark? It's like it's as ridiculous as what's the speed of light. You know, because it's either dark or it's not dark. It may not be that bright sometimes, but it's either dark or it's not dark, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's kind of an absurd notion when you start thinking about how you're trying to qualify it with time and distance, and then you look into actual science and go, no, it doesn't seem to have either. How are we gonna qualify this when we've only got concepts that describe things based on celestial movements? We've got really crude tools.
Yeah, and you know, like a little thing, like if you're looking into a bonfire and you turn around and you're in a countryside area, you can't see anything. It's totally black. But if you keep looking into the dark, your eyesight will get better, and then the dark won't be dark. You know, so what is light in that way? If you know what I mean. I mean, how much dark, in what depth of darkness can we still actually see with our eyes?
Yeah, exactly. Back when I was describing sort of stargazing, go on.
And how much are they assuming about the medium?
Oh, they're assuming all of it. They're assuming it's a vacuum when their astrophysicists describe what's up there. Burning balls of gas in vacuums.
Yeah, that's what drove me a little wild when I was a kid, and I was told, yeah, those things in the sky, those lights that we see, they're big balls of gas emitting light, and then some of them aren't even around anymore, but yet the light coming from them is still on the way to my eyes, like giant light beams just flying to our eyes from the vacuum of space. Like, that was one of the most preposterous things, other than people living antipodal to me on a ball. That was one of the most ridiculous things I heard when I was a kid.
And that story has only come about because you've got the astronomical distances based on an R assumption for Earth, an R assumption for Venus, and those pushing the distances out to massive, massive scales. And then you have them making the lights themselves really gigantic because of the vast distances. And then you take their speed and their concept with Einsteinian mathematics, and you say, well, it's going to take a long time, 7 minutes for the sun, for instance. If the sun went out tomorrow, It'd take 7 minutes before you'd realise it. Oh, right. That's what they've got based on their astronomical distances, which are all derived from Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion and an assumption that Venus has the same R value as Earth and is also a rock with a sphere shape and a physicality to measure an R value. I mean, it's so many assumptions to say, oh yeah, the light's taking a very long time to get here. Some of those lights have already disappeared millions of years ago, but the light's still travelling on its way to see us. Yet in Brian's description, and I can completely confirm this, when I used to stargaze in Shropshire, you relax in the very dark conditions, and over time, your eyes become more accustomed to the darkness, and you're more receptive to little bits of light in the very far distance, black areas that you focus on, or don't focus on, depending on how you want to look at it, and you just let your eyes relax, you'll see things appearing in the blackness that were not there before. Now, does that mean that the light suddenly started travelling and you weren't seeing it before? No, it just means your eyes have relaxed and you're seeing more detail in a very dark environment. But their descriptions of it, with things disappearing millions of years ago and the light still making its way to us, just seems absurd.
It doesn't seem absurd. It is absurd.
Indeed.
They're like giant Kamehamehas all traveling to our eyes.
Sounds like a whole lot of Earth engineering.
Get it gone!
Nathan, is it Job 38:24? I've got a slide in Master B showing different translations of it.
More than just there. It goes on down to 31. 32.
Tenth. This is the wrong quote. It's the one with, if your theory is found to be against the second law of thermodynamics, then I give you no hope.
No, it's below that. It's below that.
Below that.
I put that one. Hang on, did I hit the right one or the wrong one? Hold on.
I don't see it.
Yeah, it's not there.
No attention, you don't have the right one.
If you can read it anyway. Oh, shout out to Thomas Larson. Excellent timing with your super chat, my friend. Wow. 100 Danish kroner, I believe. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Light is a disturbance in the ether, like rings in water. Nothing moves from A to B. It would violate the law of conservation of energy when it speeds up after going through glass. Okay. Maybe you could show us some ether? Then I might buy that. But thank you very much for the super chat.
Ether's a place for us to hide our problems. It's like dark energy and dark matter. It's the flat earthers version of dark energy. They may well...
No, it's a flat earthers version of quantum foam.
Quantum foam? Oh, they like their quantum, don't they? It's just hijacking that bit of science that's been attributed to quantum mechanics with scientific validity being used in everything. It's like turbo in the 80s. Turbo becomes meaning cool. You know, everything's turbo. My turbo aftershave. It's like everything's got to become quantum because they've got some science suddenly.
I used to watch this show called Quantum Leap when I was a kid, which was pretty awesome.
Quantum. I hope I don't get a copyright strike for humming Quantum Leap.
If it's that good, Nathan, the box will have picked that up.
Ether.
Is this a cover?
It's fine by me.
No, go ahead, Ted.
No, I said Ether, one of those songs were fine by me. But I
boom, boom!
Good job.
I've got your Bible verses. Which one did you think it was? Because there's several.
Well, it's the same one with different translations. So if you go to the bottom, Young's literal translation says, "Where is this? The way light is apportioned, it scattereth an east wind over the earth." Is this the verse here? Was it your uncle? Or
Sounds about right. I'd have to double check, but yes, it is along those lines. And there's obviously going to be several passages, and he even mentioned that to me. It's like if you just find some random passage and start quoting it like it's proof of something, that's not necessarily the standard I would apply. I'd look for the same thing to be parroted in more than one place, preferably 3 or more, for me to take it as read.
Well, the first one, the New King James Version on top. By the way, by what way is light diffused? Or the east wind scattered over the earth. Like he's telling Job, how do you know how light works, Job? Do you even know how light works? That's basically God taunting Job there.
Isn't that weird? So only the other day I was telling our audience how PhD Dr. John Dee was in a bit of a tiz about the polarization of light. Well, this is a diffusion effect. So all of these are described in light, even though they're entropic effects that you can qualify and actually show happening. So in terms of, it's along the line of Thomas Larson's description of ether, actually, in terms of when you're talking about how sound propagates through air. Well, that's how kind of he's describing that. But you can show those effects. You can demonstrate those effects. You can measure those effects very easily. They've been measured for probably 100 years, in terms of acoustics at least. But that's a qualification of an effect of entropy, an entropic effect. There we go, got the word. Diffusion. Well, in this instance, it's saying, well, how does light diffuse? And when it came to that, for somebody who's bear in mind, PhD Dr. John Dee is a spectroscopy expert. That's what he's trained in. And he's aghast at how little is known about light and how much bullshit there is from the scientific community that's just peer-reviewed as opposed to scientifically valid. And it's just so stories. And he was aghast at this, which I obviously thought was quite amusing because, you know, that sort of journey is brilliant to watch. You know, someone far more educated than I going, oh my God, there's no science in this. You're like, yeah, that's right. Isn't it amazing? But yeah, so diffusion of light. Yeah, there's plenty of. You'll look it up if you're watching this now. Google it and see what you come up with, and maybe let us know in the comments how you get on. It's a very interesting subject to try and describe with entropic effects. And I don't think light works that way. Same with light being a wave traveling through ether. No offense to you, Thomas.
Nathan, are you trying to wave it past?
I'm giving it the hand wave dismissal.
Such a diffractionist.
I am.
Flatsoy, don't cast a shadow on the conversation, please.
What's the speed of dark? What's the speed of dark again?
But think, wouldn't that imply that you don't have angular change?
What? Perspective? No, that's definitely going to be occurring, regardless of whether we can qualify it mathematically or describe it with language as an entropic effect. Anyway, I just could do a quick shout out to James Richard again. Wow, he's really hitting the super chats. Thank you so much for all your support, James Richard. I really, really do appreciate it. Just put those guys on mute. In 1676, old Roma detected the speed of light by using the motion of the moons of Jupiter. Okay then, if you say so. Moons of Jupiter, you say?
Wow, was there a speed sign out there?
It's to do with Io, I think, popping in and out, popping behind and then popping out. I was just having a quick read. Basically, there's a discrepancy between how long it pops behind and how long it pops out afterwards. Now, if you assume that reason it's popping behind Jupiter is because of orbits, and then you apply that knowledge, viewing it from Earth, and taking into Earth's orbit account, you see the correlation between the two distances between Earth's orbit and Jupiter's orbit is different, and it's that differential that creates a different amount of time for the light to travel that then creates this differential effect in terms of the moons of Jupiter disappearing and emerging. I've only quickly read it, but that seems to be what they're basing this calculation on, and then
a presupposition of an orbit.
I'm just impressed.
It's all ratio based again.
Just impressed that Adam was on it so quickly. It's like, wow, super chat came in, and then within 15 seconds, I'm just reading about it now.
Sorry, well, I'd not heard of it, so I was intrigued.
Perfect. Well, we might discuss it a little bit more in the after show, but with that, as I clear my throat, I'm going to say first and foremost, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, joined as a channel member, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panel for making today's live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!